process of sending a letter to the Treasury Department to find out what's going on, and also I've sent a letter to the Speaker asking him to let's make sure that we hold the President and Treasury Department accountable. So if we absolutely say no more, Obamacare costs a lot of money to implement, so you can't implement it if we don't give more borrowing authority and don't raise the debt ceiling. So to that extent, the answer is yes. On the no side, it is the law of the land, and until we change the law, Congress is obligated to fund the federal programs. We can change that, and I've already voted in the Ryan budget to defund Obamacare, which is the official budget that passed the House. I have voted another 30 or 40 times to defund or repeal all or parts of Obamacare. At the town hall over in Crowley, one of the constituents said, well, those are all show votes. Well, they're not a show vote, because those votes are not 435 to nothing votes. But we can't make the Senate take those votes up. And as you know, the Senate is held by the Democrat majority, who right now is supporting Obamacare, although that support is beginning to erode. We will ultimately repeal or replace all, I think all or most of all of Obamacare, because it's just not working. Yes, sir.
Are you going to vote personally to defund Obamacare through the CR, or are you not going to?
All right, I'll answer that question, but I want you to tell me what that means.
Well, I want to know if you're going to vote with the to take the Obamacare out of the budget of the continuing resolution. How are you going to vote? You going to vote yes or no?
I'm just trying to understand if you understand the question you're asking.
Well, I don't understand what you don't understand about it. I mean, you read the news, the continuing resolution that's coming up. A lot of Republicans are saying they're not going to put that in the CR and let the government shut down. Okay, are you going to vote for that or against it?
Well, I've already voted to defund Obamacare.
I'm talking about coming up next.
The official House position is to not fund Obamacare, and I have voted for it every time. Every time. So it is.
Well, the resolution's coming up, okay?
Okay.
In September, end of September, whatever it is. Okay.
Well, something's got to happen.
Yeah. So okay. So are you if that
defund
Obamacare is in that resolution, are you going to vote no, or are you going to vote yes?
In a little bit, kind of in a sense, I'm in a good mood, and I'm just kind of playing with you, which I shouldn't do. There will probably be a continuing resolution, but it doesn't have to be. In a perfect, okay, I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to give you a real substantive answer.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to tell you the gospel truth. First thing, if there's a CR that comes up in the House and there's not one dime for it in Obamacare, and it passes, it doesn't defund Obamacare. How many of you know that? Doesn't do it. Because what is a CR? A CR is a continuing resolution to fund the discretionary part of the federal budget. Most of Obamacare is not discretionary. Most of Obamacare is entitled. Okay? So it's a little bit of a demagoguery to say we can somehow stop Obamacare by not funding it in the continuing resolution. Because most of Obamacare is in the entitlement part of the budget. The discretionary part of the budget is less than $1 trillion. The entitlement part of the budget is about $2.5 trillion. Okay? So then the question is, what do you really want to do? What do you really want to do? If you really don't like Obamacare, you know what you do? You pass a reconciliation bill that both the House and the Senate have to pass that eliminates it as an entitlement. That defunds Obamacare.
But you can't do
None of these people that are talking about the continuing resolution even mention that. And if there are 10 people here who do what I just said, you're the exception rather than the rule. Now, some of these folks in the Senate budget funds Obamacare both in the discretionary part of the budget. Okay? The House budget doesn't. That's a real vote. That's not a fake vote. It's a real vote. Now, ultimately, the House and the Senate has to agree on something. I want to use the next big fight on the debt ceiling sometime in September, October, to put in place a mechanism that requires we balance the budget on everything over time. Now, keep in mind the House budget zero funds discretionary part of Obamacare. If the House just says in the negotiations with the Senate, we're not going to accept the Senate position, we want the House position. We've already had that vote. Now here's the fly in the ointment. You don't have to do reconciliation. Last time we did it, I was chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee. Back in 2005. It's the last time I think we had a reconciliation bill. But if you really don't like Obamacare, and you really support the Constitution, the way you defund and repeal Obamacare is through reconciliation and de-entitle all those programs. Now, the Senate's got 54 Democrats, 46 Republicans. Okay? The President's a Democrat. They're not going to do that. So I would rather have a fight this fall on requiring a balanced budget and a mechanism that keeps it balanced and use the budget process to do what he just asked me to do. Now, this is a little political, but I think it makes sense. How many of you support a balanced budget?
Yes.
Almost everybody does. So if we're going to get into a political fight this fall, we being Republicans versus Democrats, wouldn't it be better to have that political fight on balancing the budget where 90% of the American people, regardless of political affiliation and regardless of whether you're liberal or conservative, you agree with that, than have a fight on defunding Obamacare, which I'm for, but that's about a 50-50 issue. Okay? Now, in my Crowley town, I'm not going to ask that question here, but I asked it in Crowley, and some of you were in Crowley. I said, how many of you voted for Obama? And 2 hands went up. I said, how many of you voted for Romney? And every other hand went up. There were about 50 people there. So in that town hall, it was 96-4 for Romney. In this town hall, if I asked the same question, I'd get a similar result. It's not my right to know how you vote, and so I'm not going to ask that. I just asked that over in Crowley to get a semblance of it. But the reason I'm saying this is, in this room, most of us oppose the whole principle of Obamacare, which is mandatory federal intervention, mandatory participation on an individual employer, all of big government oversight, government control. That's not what we're about. That's not what I'm about. That's not what you're about. But my Democratic colleague, Mark Vesey, who just got elected, if he's holding the town hall somewhere in his district today, he's going to get a diametrically opposed result. So when we come to Washington, these issues that in this town hall are almost 100% to zero on the floor of the House are not 100% to zero. So to go back to his question, voting against or for a CR just on Obamacare doesn't get the job done even on defunding Obamacare. Trying to change the budget process, trying to change the budget mechanism, trying to get the American people to support real reform across the board, in my mind, is much more substantive, it's better politics,